Good morning, everybody. BDF 44 coming at you another video. All right, so I don't know if what has been told to us has changed in regards to the mayor, in regards to the eviction circumstances, but the sheriff, man, he showed up. Got 5 days. 5 days. I'm gonna tell you the truth, you guys. I wasn't expecting him to show up this morning, but I did find myself 2 days ago sitting in this seat here in this area where I always meditate, and I was saying to myself, what is next? Because all I'm doing right now is waiting for that. And she said, the mayor, Karen Bass, according to some friends of mine, that she wanted all of us who had been evicted to stay in place. Now, it didn't say when, and I didn't hear that myself, so I don't know. But I guess whatever that was about has passed, and you knew it would, because they can't just keep people in wait. But I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I talked to the sheriff. He had a good demeanor about himself. It wasn't like he was saying get the hell out or nothing like that. He was just, I asked him a few questions. He told me what to do, and I already knew these things, so I know where to go and how to get there and all of that stuff. But what is expected of me and all that has already been understood. I can apply for what I need. But the thing about it is this. With 5 months away from my SSI coming through, GR not really responding as of yet. The income's not there. My mental health obviously is still just as bad as it's always been. I'm no closer to making the decision I need. The reverse stock split is taking my shares and cut them into bigger increments. So it's like it's going to be easier to sell out of my position once it's all gone. It's just gone bad, man. Everything is going really bad. And I tell you, these last couple of days, my spirit ain't been in the right place. As I always say, when you engage in the wrong energy, you can't get as close to God. And I just wonder if it's finally time for karma to catch up to me for all the things that I haven't done right. And I always say that when things go wrong, but in reality, it's just cause and effect. But what are you doing leading up to what? And I can tell you, these last couple of weeks, after the news came out that they weren't bringing the sheriffs in, I just kind of fell into my old ways. Wasn't going outside, wasn't even working out as much, feeling depressed, falling into stuff that would allow me to relax back into the same ways. And I'm telling you, the wisdom to not do that is always in place. I just struggle with my mental health, man. I struggle with my behavior. I struggle with my attitude at times. But if I'm being honest with you guys, I just have not figured out how to overcome what it is that I choose not to do. When you tell a person, hey, you got to go to work. Obviously, that person is going to go to work. You got to work to eat. With my brain, because of whatever it is that I have going on, even though I really need to work, I cannot bring myself to make that decision and then go consistently. I would rather find myself in this space, as stressed out as I am, as bad as I look, although I just got out of bed, as bad as I look, with the stresses on my head and with difficulties of living in this city, how much my rent should be able to be affordable in the presence of a space where you can't never find anything in this state. I'm almost certain this is the end of my time in California unless something big happens that I don't see coming. And I'm telling you, this was preventable. But in the same breath, it was not. Because whatever it is that would have made it preventable, I could not access. And so that's what it really comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. I have to be out of here. If I don't get that stay of eviction, I got to be out of here the day before my mother's birthday. September the 1st will be the last day I have. 31st will be the last day I can be here. I hope to get that extension so I can have a little more stability about my life. But if not, I don't know where I'm going to be. And it's the same problem I had the beginning of the first half of this year. But I can tell you this. If I can thank God for anything while I'm on this camera, is that he gave me my birthday to decompress from all of these stresses. You guys know how bad it looked about 2 months ago. But for my birthday, I didn't have to worry about any of that. And that was a miracle. And that was a miracle that allowed me to set up the GR and the SSI, for better or for worse, to get a bunch of stuff that needed to be purchased, like my table that I didn't want to take out of this place. That I wanted to bring something new with me. A couple of things that helped my life better, a couple of creature countries, shirts and stuff like that I purchased since that happened, that have overall made me feel better about myself and what I'm taking with me where I go, wherever that may be. And So it's just like the Lord gave me an opportunity to, and for that I'm deeply, deeply grateful and deeply, deeply faithful to whatever it is He wants to do. My faith is, I think, stronger than it was back then when we were going through this. But I don't think my mind is as strong as it was back then because I was in the midst of going out every day and praying hard and just being better, spiritually better. And lately, after the news that I could relax, I relaxed. And it wasn't like I was proud of that. It's just what I do. And here we are, you guys. Here we are. A man made a mistake, lives with that mistake, wakes up in the morning and finds consequences at his doorstep. And I've been helped. You know what I mean? When I ask for, like, I need help, I've been helped. That family helped me. And God has helped me. Everybody's helped me. So now I'm just ready to walk in faith. I don't even know, to be honest with you, if I'm not more embracing of whatever it is that could be possible in a negative light than I have been before. Just simply because the Lord has brought me through so much within this circumstance up until this point. It's like, I'm going to abandon Him now after He just gave me the miracle of being here for 2 months or whatever it was. Gave me the miracle of being able to stabilize certain things in my life. Gave me the miracle of being able to just function. But then also gave me the cognizance to realize we're still not where we want to be. And so, yeah, man, I'm ready to go get this done. I got to get myself, of course, together and head down here and take care of this business today. What I am thankful for is, just like I always tell you guys, it's not foreign for me right now to walk outside and do this because of the practice of constantly doing it over the last several months, with the exception of the last couple of weeks. But the point is, as we said in many of those conversations outside, if you've done it a bunch of times and you take a stop and don't do it, at least those bunch of times can be a muscle memory, so to speak, or a memory of familiarity, so to speak, that'll get you back to doing what it is you need to do. And it won't be as foreign as it was on that first step. So I feel really good about going outside and walking down there. I know where I'm going exactly. So all of that's beautiful. And that's the beauty of having experienced the toughness of the circumstance. So I don't have a whole lot of conventional hope as it pertains to what it looks like on paper. Looks like I'm probably living with family outside of the state. Looks like I'm gonna be living in hotels, something like that. Looks like it's gonna be hard for me to get what I need. But I didn't put myself in a position to make that easier while I was waiting in those 2 months and looking for apartments and stuff like that because I didn't have income. Didn't go back and get a job. But Dad, I'm telling you, if I could have made that decision at any point, of course none of this would have happened. So I'm nowhere near closer to this fear bringing me closer to wanting to do what it is that I don't want to do. And that's why help is needed. Yeah, I just want to tell everybody, God bless everybody who's going through what I'm going through. If a sheriff knocked on your door at any point in time, just know that they did the same to me, and I'm not upset about it because I know for a fact that at the end of the day, God is with me. And my actions cause these behaviors. My spirit and my body probably do not need to be in this dwelling, this apartment for much longer. And I'm going to tell you something else. As I said in the therapy session yesterday, and I'm going to say it right now. If the Lord plans on doing for me in the next 40 years, the same that He's did for me in the last 40 years, I kind of don't want to be alive because at the end of the day, I've had a very hard life. And I haven't been as strong as I need to be within that life to make myself tough as I need to be to keep pushing forward the way I need to, I believe. We'll see if that's the case. But the point is, I don't want to do another 40 years of this. But I do want to go forward in a better 40 if He has it for me. So, part of what brought me to thinking that was sitting here with nothingness going on, with the stresses, knowing that the sheriffs could eventually come back, but not knowing when that was going to happen. Not, the Karen Bass conversation, to what end? That was my question. I just don't know. And now we have the answer to that. I don't know what changed. I don't know if I have a case based on what it is that she said. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not angry. I appreciate that we had that time to wait. You know what I mean? Or figure it out. Things got figured out. Just not enough of them. but I was given some time to do more, and I didn't accomplish it. So that's fair. I think all in all, my fear level isn't as high as it was last time. My confidence level and my ability to handle more is in place. My understanding of what can be done to help myself, to store my stuff, all of that. I have a little more knowledge based on what we already went through. So a lot of that just has to be executed. And a lot of that just has to be let go of. Some of the stuff, whatever happens. But, I know I have 5 days to respond, but today will be the day I get down there. And I'm not really stalling right now. I just want to get this therapy session out. Of course, there'll be more therapy sessions as I walk down the street and walk back probably. But I just ask everybody to pray for everybody. I never ask anybody to pray for me, because if you pray for everybody, what needs to land on me will land on me. But it's not just that I ask that you pray for everybody in regards to our evictions and everything that has to do with me, but we're living in a world where money is not easy to find for a lot of people who really need it, just as we always have found ourselves with that being the case. But it just seems to me that it's much easier now to fall into a lack of confidence for not having it than ever before. And I think that that's important. A lot of people are trying so very hard to keep up with the Joneses. They're selling their souls, they're selling whatever they can. They're checking out in various different ways because they don't have enough, or they walk away from their families because they're shameful, all kinds of different stuff because of money. And it's just like, I think I took it too far in regards to the discarding of it, because I've seen so much evil done in His name, because I've seen so much sacrifice being done in His name, see so much evil and disrespect toward God and toward self being done in money's name, that I just wanted to not really give too much of a damn about the pursuit of it in my life. I respect it in other people's lives. I agree to the chase of money in regards to everybody else. But once it's time for me to start doing things that step into that arena, for whatever reason, my brain doesn't want to do it. And it doesn't make any sense. Not to the fullness of what it is that needs to be experienced here, which means I need money so I can live good. I need money from others to help myself. People need money from me, and I'd like to be unselfish. And you wake up to the notion that you're not that unselfish at all. You wake up to the notion that a lot of what you've done in being that way is reflecting upon your character, and the people that look at you don't look at you the way you look at you because you feel sorry for you in ways that maybe are not best for your character. And I think that's also part of it. Spending a little too much time over the years feeling bad for me and not feeling eager to use the time I'm wasting thinking about my own ills to find solutions for problems that may not have as much to do with me, or maybe problems I'm causing that I don't realize I'm causing by being isolated and not having conversation that allow me to know what it is I've done, and various different stuff that you do when you internalize self and not consider your helping hand being a solution to others. And that's where I've faltered with my personality and my comfort zones and what I like to do, etc. And I just wonder if karma is coming to knock on my door for not helping others when clearly I was in a place of disadvantage the entire time. But my comfort zone, no different than needing to have a job and not wanting to do it, my comfort zone put me in a position to where the decision prioritized backwards. And now I don't want to do those things. You know what I mean? What I want to do is keep myself in an isolated space, protect myself and manage what I can manage. And in the process, the Lord gives me opportunities to be blessings to others. And sometimes I just don't take the bait. And so that's what it really comes down to. I think that the Lord could be punishing me severely for a bunch of bad energies, and the timing of this feels that way. And I guess it's just, especially if I keep my faith and don't reject it. Let the Lord do what He's going to do. Maybe He can send me into a space where I can gain that perspective. But so long as I resist it, not only will I regain some resentment for the Lord, but I may also regain further wasted time, not getting better in these areas. So I'm ready. I think if I'm saying anything to you guys, I say I was not ready. I was embracing fear last time this happened. This time, I'm embracing the faith of the Holy Spirit and the understanding that there's been plenty of things that I did right and plenty of things that I did not do right, and whatever He wants to do is right. And so I thank the Lord for allowing me to have that in my heart, but I also ask that He allow it to manifest in my behavior and my actions and my timing so that things can get done, stay done, and then from there I can give myself the best opportunity to be as pleased as possible, whatever that may look like. I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to have my space. I've dealt with a lot of things alone. Some of them just I wouldn't have wanted to share time with others based on what I was struggling with. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's just what it comes down to. Some of the times that I spent by myself were probably best spent by myself. And I think if I can ask the Lord to help me with anything, it's just continuing to have either that space or kind of take away some of those concerns so that I'm not inconveniencing others with the experience of living with me. Or inconveniencing others with the experience of my energy, for which it may not always be where it needs to be. I've enjoyed living alone my whole life, and to a point, there's a part of me that's awry in my head that feels like that's the only way I want to live. But the reality is, when you don't have a choice, you got to adapt. And then if you don't have anywhere to go, then you're going to take anything that comes available and you're not going to complain about it. And so my mindset right now is that of somebody who is trying to find that in himself and is still struggling with that. But all in all, we have some matter-of-fact things to deal with, and because it's matter-of-fact, I'm definitely responding. Got to do it, gonna get done. And so I'm proud of that aspect of myself and how I was able to show that to myself in this process last time, and do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do what we have to do. And so that's really what it is. I've communicated with people. Hopefully those who I've communicated with don't feel like I've taken them for granted. People have already helped me. If they need to help me again, I may have to ask. But at the same time, I'm poised to see what the Lord is going to do in regards to what steps need to be taken to move on from this circumstance. I think He will lay down something for me that will allow me to move forward, whether it be in good news or bad news, whether it be in better stuff or worse. He will align with what is going to push me into the next phase that He has in store for me. And that's an embracing space for myself. Like, wherever we're headed is toward the Lord, not further from Him. And so that's it, man. That's where we're at. I got to get myself out there now. And I'm kind of looking forward to the sunlight. One of the things I meditated on a couple days ago was you need more sunlight. That's what the Lord told me 2 days ago as I was meditating. You need more sunlight. And so, I just wish I was closer to Him over the last couple days so He could have told me this was coming too if He wanted to. But there was a small point in time in this situation over these last couple of weeks where I was sitting here saying, this is almost like the 401k. You remember when I was telling you guys that as I was describing how I was picking from it, trying to give myself an opportunity to pay this rent, paid my whole rent with my mother's 401k. It was like 50 grand. Just sat on it for like 3 years, worked on it, and then from there went through this whole situation in 2028, the car situation rather, and it was something that spiraled me into picking from it, and had us, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it was a mental breakdown. It probably was something like that. But listening to her talk about that, my friend, and now looking at where we're at right now, I just feel like there was a point in that, during that, where I just felt empty. In both of those instances, when my mom's 401k was dwindling to nothing, I was just sitting here for months at a time. Didn't really have art yet. Still had video games to waste time with. All kinds of stuff that I was still bad at that time in 2018. And it was an emptiness. It was like nothing's happening. Nothing's good, nothing's bad. It's just empty. And with me, when empty is going on, that's almost as bad as bad. And there was a point in time over the last, 4 days, where there was a point where it's like, man, this is really empty. Now that Karen Bass has told us we don't have to leave, I don't have anything to stress over, but I can't initiate any urgency because that's the freaking problem. So I just found myself sitting here. Sometimes doing something productive, most of the time just sitting, like literally sitting, because it was really nothing. I could not bring myself to do nothing. I don't want to do nothing. You know what I mean? Like literally, but the stuff that comes naturally to me, and it just so happened there wasn't a lot going on in that moment that was inspiring me to do anything. And I just realized, it's almost like I need urgency to to push me. Man, that is awful, man. I hope that's not the psychology that's ultimately pushed me into this space. It's just like, yo, when nobody has anything dire on me, it's kind of hard for me to manifest production, it seems. And the initiation of wanting to do things that ultimately make my life better, preventative measures, can't enter them because they are too stressful to even enter in this awry brain of mine. So it's like, yo, again, the emptiness of it all is because of the struggles. It's like, God, if you could just give me an imagination and a little bit of courage, take some steps that maybe I'm afraid to take in this isolation, maybe I can give myself a life, enjoy my time, and not be so focused on the things that ultimately I don't like, overthinking, underthinking, neglecting, smoking, all of the different stuff that comes from just not having anything to do and not having the motivation to manifest something that would make it so that nothing will be coming that would be bad. Now that we're back here again, likely this time it can be whatever. I'm not speaking into existence, but it seems we're back in the same space we were 6 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever it was. And it's like I told my uncle right before I picked up the phone and talked to you guys. We're back in action. Because that's exactly what it feels like. You're like, yo, we had my birthday to relax in regards to the stresses of the world. Now we got to get back to the real nitty gritty that's killing you, which is you're going to be homeless very soon. And so it's like, okay, well, I guess we're back in action. And so my position on myself is that of somebody who needs deep psychological help. I'm very intelligent, but I struggle so deeply, and I also struggle with coping with how that goes. The weed habit. It's expensive. It has its perks, but this last session I bought 3 different weeds. That's not the way I want to go. Because I always tell you guys, smoking one weed is the only way for me. Because you end up having so many mood swings, and that's what I was going through these last couple of days as well. So it's just like, look, living like this has only gotten me so far. There are things in this house that because I live alone, I barely even realize need to be replaced. Had money to replace all these things, never bought them. I was looking at my table yesterday, like, bro, I could have bought this table. I could have replaced this table every 3 months with another table just like it, with some of the money that I just squandered buying weed. You know what I'm saying? The weed costs more than the table every time. Every time. So it just gets to a point where it's like, man, I was explaining to my friend in the VMs who was holding me accountable for not, getting it right with some things that she described. I was telling her how I picked from the 401k. I was telling her exactly how much trouble I was having trading stocks early on and how manic my trade behavior was. My paper trail, man, will determine exactly how real my mental health concerns are. If my behavior and my mannerism or whatever has never shown you that in this camera, if you go back and look at them Fidelity trades when I was messing around with stocks before AMC, you understand exactly how it goes. Trading stuff I just bought hours ago because it dropped a couple minutes, completely like just manic, y'all. Very, very manic behavior in that regard. Not respecting money at all. Trade this, how much? I don't know. It's that many shares. It was like that because I was just toying with it. It was just not a respect for the money itself. It wasn't a respect for anything other than the fact that I was just, at that time, smoking a different weed every day, right? Controlling my behavior, and from there, just going forward with whatever urges felt right. And in times, those urges were directly reactionary to the moment we were in, as it pertains to the stock moving up or down. If it looked like it was moving down, I didn't care if it was a good faith violation. I don't care if it was something I believed in. I don't care if I know it makes sense that it's going down. I was selling if it went down in the moment. And so it's just a lot of stuff. It's just like, yo, I know how sick I've been. For as long as I've been alive, I've struggled with these behaviors and various different things. And the weed habit only makes it even more murky. So it's a lot of stuff I need to grow out of. A lot of stuff I need to do. Get myself to a doctor, obviously, as we've been talking about. This is a lot of stuff that ain't going to get done if I stay on this path. This nothingness path that came after all the stresses kind of were told I could put them aside, as I took like very seriously and just figured, hey, they'll let me sit. But like, this ain't been the greatest last couple of weeks for my spirit, my behavior, my actions, my maturity. It just ain't. I went through a long little 6 months of this eviction thing. It kicked my butt, man. It kicked my butt. And I found myself very much staggered after that situation. Was relieved for a short time. It was like, boom, 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 boom. All right, pause. And I'm like, pause. I don't have to get my butt whooped no more. It's like they all scattered away from jumping. And then I get to sit there and just like lick my wounds. And it's like, I know I should probably still be getting kicked on, jumped on, and pushed on, because that's what normally happens. But the Lord came through and just called the dogs off for a minute so I can catch my breath, gain my strength, get some cognizance further about the behavior that led to this. And then he can come back around, send the dogs back to me to keep on kicking my behind. And that's what it feels like. He's like, all right, you had a nice little birthday, right? Yeah, cool. All right, send him back out there, beat him up some more. That's where we at. And so it's like, I appreciate that break, especially if I deserve that butt whooping. But in the process, I've gotten even closer to my family with my uncle. That's a good thing. I've kept up with those Bible studies. You know what I mean? I was able to kind of reach out to my family a little more, even though I kind of weaned off of communicating with people once again, which is also a product of my comfort in isolation, not reaching out, not answering the phone, all that snotty stuff that doesn't represent me properly, that I engage in to protect myself or whatever set of comforts. And that stuff came back around. So it's just like, I feel like I was getting worse again. So it's like, okay, this happens in a timing that focuses on me sharpening my tool once again and getting back to the mindset that I was in when I was doing everything spiritually right, because I was too afraid not to. So the reality was I was too afraid to do anything spiritually inept. I was talking about God, walking down the street every day. It's because I was, one, respectful of my voice. When you get closer to God, you have the context for why you should stay closer to God. But two, I was scared on my backside and I needed him to appeal to my circumstances, and he did. But when he did that, I don't know that I did what I should have done to assure that he felt good about doing it. I don't know that I did that. So it is what it is, man. We talk about the spiritual aspects of things, it is what it is. But the reality of life is just, this is what it is. And you don't pay. You got to pay people, man. And even I agree that this should be handled. You know what I mean? Like, one way or another, even I can agree that there is some truth to the need to make it so that people leave if they can't pay indefinitely, regardless of what's going on. If there's nothing that can help them, it then becomes a situation for it coming out of the budget for everybody else. And so I've been thinking about, for example, certain times the water is not very warm. You can, like 9 p.m. you take a shower, it's scalding hot. You take a shower like 6 p.m. a little 3 hours earlier, and it's not as warm. And I just wonder, is that a budget thing? Do they say, okay, we're going to leave the hot water on hot at certain hours? We know people, because we don't have a budget. And it's like, what am I contributing to in that regard? Is that my money keeping the water from being warm? I know it probably doesn't trickle down to that necessarily, but just the same, it just may. And that's something that I've been thinking about. It's like, I'm not as confused as to know that my behavior in protecting myself often leaves others to be attacked by that protection. Porcupine energy, just like I described in others. I don't respect that in others, no different than I don't necessarily respect it in me. So there is something to be said for compliance as it pertains to the solidarity of the circumstance. Yes, my mind is awry. It has caused me to be this way. And anybody that is this way, they need to be handled a certain way if they're not of the mental health troubles that I have. Now, if they do have those troubles, they still have to be handled a certain way. And they still have to be out of there. So however that goes, it would still be ultimately me being inconvenienced by my own opinion of what should happen in the situation. So it's like, I just ask the Lord to make the sense of all of that. As I find myself to be a selfish person, but not as it pertains to thinking it's okay to do whatever it is I want to do, especially if it leaves others hurt. So I tell you guys, that's it. I feel like I could be considering this to be wasted time, but it ain't. That place don't close till something that's only an hour away walk. So yeah, man, I wanted to get this therapy session out, and I want to let people know that my spirit ain't been where it need to be. My behavior's been trash since that little break came, and I hope that's not why the Lord is coming back around to spin the block on me. But at the same time, he knows that I've been trying to communicate with him the same, and my voice means the world to me. And I think this is going to course me to get back on track in some very key areas that I really, really want to be back on track on. So I'll take the good with the bad, and now I just hope the Lord can give me good quarters from which to lay my head, man. That's what I'm asking for. And just know that I didn't look for apartments for good reason. I was not looking for apartments for any other reason than the fact that I did not have income. My credit is not where it needs to be. And ultimately, I ran into too many empty scams when I was trying to look for apartments in the range that I could handle. So it was one of those situations where it's like, without that income, I don't believe it makes any sense to be trying to get people to try to rent to you when you have no path to being able to pay them what they need. You can lie about it and maybe convince them to do it, but at the end of the day, they're going to know when your checks don't come. They're going to know when you're delinquent with certain checks. They're going to know, so it's like, let me just get my SSI and GR in order so that I can come to somebody and say, yo, income's here. But that's a process that takes a lot longer than I have. So it's underway. That's a lot more than I was able to give them, whoever that would be. And take this to the apartment rental people and say, look, this is what we have going on. I had a family that may be willing to help fund what I got going on for the short term. And then after that, my check should be coming from myself and my name, because that will be the plan after SSI kicks in, assuming, which is not smart, that it will kick in. So as I told you guys yesterday, we're at 2% with SSI. GR, I don't know where we're at, but I will talk to the self-help people today at the courthouse and refer those things to them there, as the sheriff actually told me to do, as I asked him a few questions. So, it is what it is, man. I don't think this is unjust. I do think that the timing is fine based on the break that I needed, and that break no longer being good for me to a certain point. We're exactly at that point. And I'm just almost excited about what the Lord wants to do. He's worked some incredible miracles in this situation. That Karen Bass thing was a miracle. That should not have happened as it pertains to the favor that I have, and just exactly how rare that could have actually been when predicting it happening beforehand. Like, yo, only prayer I got is the mayor coming out telling everybody to sit still because she's not sending any sheriffs. Like, that literally happened. You know what I'm saying? If you would have told me the odds of that, I probably wouldn't have thought they would be any good at all. So that's the miracle that allows me to understand that I can still apply this faith going forward and let the Lord handle that. Also, just getting my ID. My ID just expired on my birthday. I was able to re that up before this happened, so that's kind of a big deal, even though it has this address on it. At the end of the day, I got a current ID, current guard card, pending circumstances with those two things we talked about. And so it's a lot of stuff that's in the right direction that I didn't have in order when this first happened. So that's what it was about, trying to get some things in order. They're there. So we move, man. And I still got September 8th, I got my therapy session, the third therapy session on the way. That's in place, obviously. That was not at the time. It was still hypothetical that I had a mental health concern. Now they have doctors that can tell you they've seen me. So all of this is in place to kind of, I hope, cushion the blow for whatever it is I got to do today and over the next several weeks. More days, or whatever it's going to be. But ultimately, I just thank the Lord for allowing me to have that breath of fresh air, that break from the jumping, time away from my stresses. I could not be more grateful for that. And just the same, grateful for what's coming next. Happiness, love, support, commitment, continued dedication to causes that are just continued balance of what it is that ultimately I'm looking at versus what it is that I'm doing in a situation. All these different perspectives that the Lord, I'm hoping, will continue to provide me as I move forward in His name. So that runs out. That's the end of my time to talk. I had 34 minutes. We're basically at 34 now. And I just want people to know that it's about to get real around here again. But it was really, really nice to just take a break and let the Lord kind of readjust my mind and ultimately get me some things in order that allow me to be a bit more ready, I guess. A bit more ready. So praise God for that. And I'll give you more therapy sessions as the day goes along. BDF 44, I thank you all for watching. Wow.